Geotechnical Engineering 2. So in this module number 3 and lecture number 6, we will try to understand the stability of slopes considering some of the different conditions here. Okay, so let us look at the course outline. So initially we have understood what do we mean by slope, and then the different failures in case of slopes, as well as an entity known as the factor of safety. Later we have understood the different stability methods that are there, okay, for analysis. Now we will be discussing the stability of slopes under different conditions for dams or embankments. Okay, so later we will be discussing the earth retaining structures. So coming to today's lecture, we will be discussing on these dams and embankment stability analysis. Okay, now so in general, if you consider the stability of slopes in case of earthen dams, okay, so it is investigated with respect to three different aspects. So that is, the first one is the steady seepage conditions. That means whenever if you consider an embankment or a dam, if there is any steady seepage, okay, we have seen the steady seepage condition. If there is any steady seepage, we will be analyzing for that condition, as well as for sudden drawdown conditions. Okay, that means if you consider a reservoir along with the dam, initially in a particular year, at the beginning of the year, say the level of the water is very high, and within few days itself, if there is a sudden downfall of the water level, that means that condition is nothing but by drawdown condition. Okay, so we will be understanding this drawdown condition now, as well as during construction we will be understanding the conditions. Okay, so these are the three different cases for which we consider the effect of the stability of slopes in case of earthen dams. Now coming to the stability of slopes under seepage condition. Okay, so in general, if you see, if there is any reservoir, okay, if there is any reservoir and on the upstream side of the dam is actually filled with water, and then if there is seepage, that means if you consider this as a dam section here or an embankment, or say there is water level up to this level, say it is height h. Okay, so we may observe some seepage through this soil. Okay, let us say the seepage is some through this soil. Okay, in this manner. So here we need to understand that the seepage is in direction. So we are assuming here that along the upstream side there is some seepage through the dam. Okay, so this is our criteria for this particular case. So now, after some time, the steady seepage conditions are actually established. As we have seen, the steady seepage conditions are generally established and a well defined phreatic line is obtained. That means there will be a topmost seepage line. Okay, so that is termed as our phreatic line here. Okay, we will look at this phreatic line more in detail now. Before that, the other thing is that the soil below the phreatic line is generally saturated, and then it is subjected to pore water pressure. Okay, that means below this phreatic line, the soil water that is present, it is actually saturated in state and it is subjected to pore water pressure. So if you look at this particular diagram now, consider this as my dam section. So if you say that this is the water level, okay, and let us say, as we have seen, there are some flow lines. Okay, only consider this dam section. Okay, and let us say this is the water level. Okay, so since the water is seeping through this, we are assuming that it is a steady seepage condition. So let the topmost water line be represented in this manner. Okay, the topmost water line is represented in this manner, and this line is nothing but my phreatic line. Okay, so below this, whatever soil that is actually present is nothing but in saturated state. That means it is saturated in state. Okay, it is saturated in state. That means voids are filled with water. So that is why we consider the effect of pore water for this particular soil, and above this, whatever soil that is there, that is in dry state. Okay, so in general, the seepage water, as I stated, below the phreatic line, okay, it exerts some pore water pressure on the soil mass which lies below the phreatic line. That means, as we have seen in the diagram, below the phreatic line, whatever soil that is there, it is exerted with some pore water pressure, okay, on the soil mass. And now, hence, if the slices of the critical arc, whatever slices in the method of slices we have learned, if you consider the slices in that critical arc, so what is happening? If you consider the soil in a saturated state or submerged state, then we must consider the effect of pore water pressure, okay, and then correspondingly we must make sure that the shear strength that is there is actually reduced, okay. So that is what we need to consider here, okay. Now, so if you look at this particular diagram once again here, this is the axial slip circle and this is the phreatic line, okay. So the soil present in this state is nothing but my submerged soil state, okay. And if you consider the slices, okay, so in this case whatever shaded region that is there, okay, this region is nothing but my submerged soil, and here we need to consider the reduced shear strength, okay, along the failure planes. Clear? So now, so the net shear strength for this particular slice, okay, if you consider one particular slice here, it is given by CL plus N minus U into tan phi. Okay, in general we know that it is nothing but CL plus N tan phi. So additionally here the U term, that is the pore water pressure, is actually coming into picture, okay. So that is the difference here, where U is the pore water pressure. Clear? Now, so the factor of safety, now it may be defined as C into LA plus sigma n minus sigma u into tan phi by sigma t. This is considered for the entire slip surface, okay, considering all the wedges there, okay, considering all the wedges. Now you have to consider this particular formula, taking sigma n, sigma u, sigma t as well as LA, that is length of the arc, okay. Now, so here as I have stated, where phi is the angle of internal friction, sigma u is the total pore water pressure along the slip circle, and sigma n is the total normal components for the submerged soil whatever we are considering, okay. And then sigma t is the total tangential component considering saturated unit weight. Here one thing you need to understand is that in case of sigma n, okay, since it is based on the total stress, so we will be considering the submerged unit weight or density. But in case of sigma t, it is the mobilized shear resistance, so it is actually taken considering the saturated unit weight. Clear? Only in this case the effect of pore water pressure is significant. Clear? So that is the only difference here. Now looking at the other case here, so the pore water pressure at a point is represented by the piezometric head at that particular point. So that means, how do we define this? That means whatever pore water pressure we are actually evaluating, it is nothing but in terms of piezometric head at that particular point where we are finding out, okay. Now, so the variation of pore water pressure along a particular failure arc is therefore obtained as explained below, okay. So that means, first of all, what we need to do, we need to draw certain equipotential lines along with these flow lines, okay, and then we need to determine the points of intersection. So whatever equipotential lines and flow lines are intersecting, that we need to obtain, okay. But in this particular case, to find out the pore water pressure, first we need to draw the entire diagram with respect to our scale, okay. So we will draw the scale. With respect to that scale, we will represent the entire dam section as well as the total head level, and then we will draw the phreatic line, and then we represent some equipotential lines and flow lines known as our flow net, okay. So once we determine this, what we do, at the intersection wherever the equipotential lines are intersecting, we will try to draw the vertical line at the top and we will obtain the distance, okay. That means the vertical ordinate at the intersection we are trying to find out where the intersection is taking place, and then along with that, perpendicular to the failure curve, we will find the perpendicular distance. So that is nothing but pore pressure. Okay, whatever scale we have considered, for that we are finding out the pore pressure which is in the perpendicular direction to the slip surface. Okay, let us look at this more in detail now. Okay, so if you look at this particular diagram here, so this is our actual level of water and this is my phreatic line what we have drawn. Okay, so we need to find out the pore water pressure. Apart from that, we know how to calculate N, T, phi, all those parameters for factor of safety. Only additional entity is here, the pore water pressure. To find out that, we need to consider this diagram. So after that, we need to draw the equipotential lines. Okay, so now representing the equipotential lines, say in this manner. Okay, so this is the failure arc. So for time being, I am just drawing only few lines. So if you consider any one particular line, okay, so initially after drawing this as per our scale, we need to find out the vertical distance. So let us say this is my vertical distance at the point of intersection. At the point of intersection, this is the vertical distance. So similarly, we will find out all the vertical distances. Later, what we need to do? We need to find out the actual pore water pressure. Okay, that means how it is found out? If you take any one small wedge here, okay, any small wedge, for that particular thing, if you consider this is a small wedge in this manner, okay, so for that, if you consider the perpendicular to this particular wedge, okay, that failure arc, so that distance which is intersecting this phreatic line, okay, this is phreatic line, this is failure arc. Okay, this distance is nothing but, in terms of our scale, we will be calculating, and this is given as our pore water pressure. Okay, so from this we will be finding out our pore water pressure. Clear? In this manner. So if you look at this particular small wedge here, this is the inclined vertical which is vertical to this particular line. So that is my pore water pressure. So in such manner we will be calculating our U value. So now, as I have stated, we will be calculating U. Also the U from the diagram, if you look at the U which is shaded here, that can be evaluated from the ordinate method by considering how we have calculated for N and T. Okay, in that case the only difference is that we take gamma as the unit weight of water, either 9.81 kilonewton per meter cube or 10 kilonewton per meter cube. Clear? Now, so finally we will be obtaining the factor of safety as C into LA plus sigma n minus sigma u into tan phi by sigma t. Okay, all these entities we know. Now we have looked at the sigma u calculation. Clear? So now let us proceed to the other one, that is approximate method. That means instead of calculating u separately, just in case in some aspects we may consider the normal aspects. As I have stated, the normal component whatever we are considering, that can be found out directly by considering submerged unit weight. Okay, in the previous case itself, in the before slides, I have explained that we have to find out sigma in terms of our submerged unit weight, and simply the sigma t in terms of our saturated unit weight. So if you calculate these directly, we can substitute here, it is CLA plus sigma n dash. Okay, that means it is nothing but sigma n minus sigma u. Clear? We can directly substitute it here. Clear? So that is the approximate method. Now let us look at the other case, that is the stability of slopes under sudden drawdown condition. Okay, so what do we mean by this sudden drawdown? Whenever, if you consider any dam, if you see there is upstream side and downstream side. So along the upstream side, if there is a sudden downfall of the water level, so in such case the sudden drawdown condition may occur. Okay, and this state is known as the critical state. Now whenever we consider any low permeable soil, okay, and if there is sudden drawdown, in such case there is no effect on the soil mass that is present. Okay, so if you look at this particular diagram here, so this is the initial level which is very high. So this is the initial flood level which is high. So within very few days or months itself, the fall has now caused to this level, that means this is low. Okay, that means it has gradually gone down suddenly. So because of that, if the soil present at this region which is initially saturated, now since there is a drag here, so obviously the soil at this region will tend to move down. Okay, and a slope failure is occurring. That means a slope failure is occurring. Okay, so that is what we need to understand here. So this is what happens in case of sudden drawdown. As I've stated, the weight of the water that is present here, okay, whatever weight of the water that is present here initially when the water level is high, okay, when it is getting low, the soil causes the sliding of this particular wedge down. Okay, it causes this wedge down. And apart from that, if you look at the other thing here, so the shear resistance whatever that is there of the soil, okay, whatever shear resistance that is offering so that it has to resist the sliding, okay, it is considerably reduced due to the pore water pressure existing in the soil. Okay, whereas the distributing force due to the saturated unit weight remains same. It remains same. Okay, so here what you need to understand is that it is a generalized definition here. That means whatever shear resistance that is offering by the soil is actually getting reduced now. Okay, but the distribution force due to the saturated weight, whatever saturated weight of the soil that is there, that will remain constant. Only the driving force that is there additionally, which is resisted by the soil mass, is actually getting reduced. That is why failure is occurring. Okay, now so the stability of the slope is investigated based on the equation considering the seepage condition. Okay, so we know that the factor of safety is C into LA plus sigma n dash into tan phi by sigma t. So that is how we evaluate this. Okay, here one thing we need to understand that simply by directly application of this formula, just like how we have used in study seepage, is not actually convenient, and hence the Skempton's pore water pressure parameters have been used to understand this sudden drawdown condition. Okay, let us look at this now. So before understanding the Skempton's pore water pressure components, let us try to understand the stability of slope during construction, because this also involves the pore water pressure. Okay, so in general, whenever you consider any earthen dam, if you consider the excess pore water pressure that is developed due to the compaction, that means if I am constructing an embankment or a dam, obviously I have to compact the soil, and during compaction there is some excess pore water pressure that is developed. Okay, and this is mainly due to the construction process, or in some instances it may be developed due to the self weight of the soil also, which is above a particular level. Okay, so that need to be considered. And then the pore water pressure, so I am stating that it is depending upon pore water pressure, and this pore water pressure in case of sudden drawdown as well as during construction generally depends upon the placement water content. Okay, whatever water content of the soil that is actually there, it depends on the water content. And then the method of compaction, in this case it is depending upon the method of compaction, and then it is depending upon the weight of the overlying layers. That means if I have to construct layer wise, so obviously above one layer there will be another layer, so it depends on the weight of the layer above one particular layer. Okay, and then lastly the rate of dissipation of pore water during construction. During the construction, what is the rate of dissipation of pore water? So these are some of the important factors that are actually affecting the pore water pressure. Okay, so now as I have stated, it depends upon Skempton's pore water pressure components. So there is a pore water pressure parameter known as B. Okay, it is nothing but pore pressure parameter B. So this is used by Skempton, okay, in obtaining the pore water pressure U. Let us look at this more in detail now. Okay, it is given by B, or sometimes it is also denoted by B bar, is given by U by sigma. okay, where U is the pore water pressure or increase in pore water pressure, and sigma is the corresponding total stress, okay, or sometimes we may state that it is the major principal stress, and sometimes it may be denoted sigma 1, okay. So in general we know that the pore water pressure is given by U is equals to U naught, the initial pore water pressure, plus the additional pore water pressure delta U, okay, U equal to U naught plus delta U, where this U naught is nothing but initial pore water pressure, and delta U is the increase in pore water pressure. Increase in pore water pressure, okay. So whenever we consider this increase in pore water pressure during construction, so this may be considered as this delta U is B or B bar, okay, into delta sigma 1, okay. From this particular equation we know that B or B bar is nothing but U by sigma 1. So for the additional increase it may be represented as U equal to B into sigma or delta sigma 1, okay. So rewriting the equation now, U is equals to U naught plus B bar delta sigma 1. So this delta sigma 1 is nothing but my major principal stress, and B bar is the Skempton pore water pressure parameter, okay. So in certain instances, what is this major principal stress? This is nothing but gamma into the depth, okay, gamma into the depth, or simply finally I can state that this U is nothing but U naught plus B bar gamma H, okay. So this is my final expression, okay. So in certain instances U naught may be 0, okay, and in such case U can be equal to B bar into gamma H, clear. So that is regarding the case for determination of pore water pressure, and then finally using this we evaluate the factor of safety, clear. So in the upcoming lecture let us try to solve some of the problems on the slope stability analysis of till now what we have discussed regarding the stability analysis concepts. So we will look at some of the problems, okay. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.